Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be showing you my whole makeup collection. I'm not trying to brag how much I do actually have. I am just so obsessed with makeup. Like, I've been collecting it probably for the past 3 years now, like seriously been collecting it. And obviously it is my job to be a makeup artist. I do love testing out new products to make sure that they're up to standards to test out on clients, and I want to treat my clients to the best that I can, which ends up in me obviously buying a few first to test out myself and then buying for my kit also. So that's why I have quite a lot. But yeah, I love it all so much, and a lot of it has sentimental values behind it also. So I hope you're excited, and let's show you what we've got. So we're just going to start off with my lash drawer first. So as you can see right off the bat, I have an entire called like the Certify like lash book or something like that. As you can see, it's just a massive collection of lashes that Certify do. I got this quite a while ago when it first ever really came out. All along the back and down the side, and these two at the front are ones that I've just bought offline just to test out sort of like foam ink sort of lashes. So these are always just sort of back. I then have 3 sets here of the Certify lashes. I also have another set here, my favourite ones in Orion. Massive gorgeous lashes, I love them. I then have 2 new pairs of the Dull Beauty lashes. I literally cannot wait to use these, they look gorgeous. I'm definitely going to purchase a few more of them. My next drawer under my desk is my sort of creative and special effects drawer. At the front here we have my modelling wax, which I use for special effects. I then have a little sort of tub with little gems and glitter in. I literally love these are so good when creating looks. I then have all sort of like stick-on gems in the back here. Here also, this one is just full of fake nails, and then one that's just full of the glitters that you normally get from like craft sort of places that I just use if I'm putting glitter all over the body. And have a bit of blood spray down here purely because it won't fit anywhere else. I then have the Snazaroo little face paints. So I've got pretty much every single colour in that, and a few of the metallic ones from Primark. This section in the middle is just full of sponges, just so I can get different textures when creating looks, and also to apply like blood and things like that, so nothing really gets too dirty that I can't just chuck away after. This front section here, I just have sort of like loose sort of chunky glitters, smaller glitters, a few like metallic pigments from Primark. I also have a few like body gels in here also, which are from Primark. These are actually so gorgeous on, and I'm definitely gonna have to create a few looks for these. These are really good for festivals. Got fake blood, so 2 different sort of shades. I then have like camouflage sort of palettes in the back from Revolution, their special effects palette, and also a bruise wheel from Miron or Mayron, I don't really know how you pronounce them. I really do think I want to start creating a few more sort of like out there looks, so let me know down below if you do want me to start creating some more creative and special effects looks. I'm then just going to show you also some of my brushes on the top. So these 2 right here, they have sort of face brushes in. I sort of try and keep them more like buffing brushes. These are more like all over face brushes. These 2 here, my 2 client brush sets. So I have my eye brushes and I also have my face brushes. I do keep them individual to mine as I don't want to contaminate them by using them on my own face and then using them with clients. And then finally on the end we have some spare eye brushes, a few like little paint brushes. These are more my brushes that I use when I do get creative, that I don't mind ruining as much. And then also like stippling brushes, sort of foundation-y sort of brushes. I then over here have my all day everyday sort of brushes that I use, so my eye brushes and then also my face brushes. Yes, they are absolutely dirty right now, I do need to clean them, but I haven't got around to it right now, so that's why they're a bit messy. So in this section of my shelving unit that I sort of use for displays, I keep my setting sprays. So I have my NYX, my MAC Fix Plus, Morphe, Urban Decay, I have Too Faced, a few like Primark-y and sort of Revolution ones also. So in this one I just keep my lip liners. I just sort of keep them here as I like having them displayed in a cute little wine glass that I had. Also in this section have a jar just full of Primark lipsticks. I just sort of have these in here as more sort of display, and also I don't have enough room to fit them in my lipstick drawer. And then I also have a basket just full of beauty blenders, which are all disgusting and dirty, which I'm going to clean tomorrow ASAP. We are next going to go into my Alex drawers. Everyone will be very familiar with these drawers. I have the 9 Alex drawer. My first drawer is all pretty much eye. Starting from the right side, I have pretty much all my pigments sort of running down the side, also going along the back. So I keep all my peaches and creams at the front here. I absolutely love their pigments. I next have my MAC pigments. These were kindly gifted to me when I did my work experience, and they said that I could take samples of each one. I love their pigments also. I then have the K Rose B pigments, which if you're on the Beauty Ship group chat you will know who Kelly is, and she has incredible pigments. They're very affordable and incredible pigment for what they are at the price they're at. Also, I love them. I then have my Helene Cosmetics pigments further back and a few of the glitters. I then have a lot of like Profusion and Primark pigments at the far back, which I don't use as much. So in my next slot I have all my eyeliners, so I have all my pen felt tip eyeliners at the back. I don't really use these as much. I then have my pencil eyeliners further forward. I also have my gel eyeliners, which are at the front, so like my MAC, LA Girl and Maybelline. Next I have my eyebrow slot. So of course you know I have the NYX eyebrow gel in here. Sample Beauty Brow Alchemy, have a Benefit 24-hour brow setter, have a few pencils in here, some of the mascaras. I then have 2 pomades at the back, which I got rid of a lot of my pomades. I don't really tend to use them as much anymore, so I thought there's no point keeping them. I then have mascaras in this section here. I have obviously like my Too Faced, Primark, NYX, Sleek, Benefit. Have so many of the samples of the MAC ones from when I did my work experience there. They literally gave me so many of them, so I'm slowly working my way through them. In the front section here we have my bases for eyeshadow and also my lash glue. So I have obviously my P. Louise, I have a few different shades of P. Louise, I love them. Have my Peaches and Cream eyeshadow primer and glitter base. I have obviously MAC Soft Ochre, a few of the cut creases canvas little things from Revolution, then have my duo glues. I then, all down the side here, have my liquid sort of eyeshadows and glitters. So starting from the back I have my Barry M ones. I've got the holographic topper sort of eyeshadows. I have the Primark liquid foil metallic eyeshadows in front of them. I then have the Revolution eye glistens, and then also the Be Perfect Glamour Glitter liquid eyeshadows, which are gorgeous also. So in my next drawer I have highlighters. So starting with the singles along here, I have like Ofra, a few MAC, I then have Ciate, Fenty Beauty, we've got Dior, the Balm Merry Luminizer, have NYX, we have Wet n Wild, Profusion, got a Topshop one which used to be so popular back in the day, and then a little Tarte one. My Iconic London Luminous powder. This stuff is so beautiful. I literally love this stuff so much. I then at the front here have like my Dull Beauty highlighter, which as you can see is gorgeous. I have my Soph and Revolution palette, you'll know that one. I then have a Morphe Babe in Paradise with Bretman Rock palette. This one is gorgeous. Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit here. This one's gorgeous. Have of course my Be Perfect Sub-Zero palette with Mitchell. And a BH Cosmetics Duralight palette, which I don't think they do this one anymore, but this one is also beautiful. I then have a KB Rose single highlighter, the NYX powder that we will remember. I have a few Barry M highlighters, liquid ones, Primark, Wet n Wild, so on. I have like a MAC Hyperreal Glow palette, and then like an Essence one, L'Oreal Paris, things like that. If you were wanting a more in-depth video, then maybe I'll do one day. My next drawer is all of my bronzers and blushes. These all actually used to be in with my powders and concealers, which you'll see when we get to that drawer next that I physically could not fit all of them in a drawer anymore. So I have like my Milani Baked Blush, everyone knows this one from my videos. I have the Benefit California in a mini. I've got a few Essence ones, NYX, we've got a Sleek one behind here, and the BH Cosmetics blush palette. This one is really good. And then also my brand new H&B Cosmetics Dare to Be Different in Feeling Peachy. This blush is incredible. It is so gorgeous, and I'm definitely going to be purchasing more of him. In the rest of the drawer have my bronzers and like contours. So at the front we've got a few of my MAC ones. So we've got Dark Deepest, we've got Dark Golden, and Give Me Some. We then have like my Urban Decay, a NYX one, we've got Wet n Wild, two Essences here because I love it so much that I needed a backup. We then got Dior, the little contour palette. We've got NARS Laguna, which is everyone loves. I do especially. I've hit pan, it makes me so sad. I have the most expensive bronzer I've ever bought in my life. This packaging is gorgeous, but I mean, for how big this little bronzer is, yeah. I then have more of like my palettes behind here. So I've got like a Smashbox. So this is the Cali Contour one that I have, and then I've got like a little palette that I made from MAC with two blushes and two sort of bronzery contour shades. And then of course we do know I have the Cheek Leaders Bronze Squad by Benefit, which I love. Next we have my drawer with my concealers, my cream contours, and my powders in. So in the front section I have all sort of concealers. So we've got like the Born This Way by Too Faced, got the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye. I've got a few different ones from Revolution, like the Fast Base Concealer, the Conceal and Hydrate, Conceal and Define, as you know. I've got a few of the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Concealers. I've got the Barry M ones. I've got a few Maybelline Erase ones, and also the Urban Decay Stay Naked. We also have a ELF one and also a MUA one. So that's all them. We then have my cream contours next. So we have all of my contour sticks from Primark. You know what I think about them. I've also got my Revolution foundation stick. We know how I feel about this also. I then have a NYX Born to Glow concealer, which I've used recently in Cappuccino. I've got the NARS Laguna liquid bronzer, which I love. And also at the front I have my Tan de Chanel, obviously by Chanel, the bronzer that they do, which is incredible and so beautiful. Then the rest of the drawer is just powders. So I have my Anastasia Beverly Hills powder, I have a Jeffree Star, we've got Too Faced Peach Perfect, which if you have not smelt this one, it is then have the Too Faced Born This Way powder. I also have a little mini of it which I take when I'm travelling. Then have the Laura Mercier. I had to buy a new one of these because I had completely run out of my... I've got the Lottie London Ready Set Go. I've got a few Maybelline Fit Me's. I've got a Revolution banana powder. I have the Primark one, also the banana powder. I then have the Huda Beauty in Pound Cake and a Barry M, and then like an essence. So in our next drawer it is primers. Now I used to have it sort of set up so these drawers would go in order that I would do my face, so primers at the top, foundation, so on. But I ended up actually running out of space for foundations, so I've had to put them in a lower drawer in one of the bigger ones. So that's why it's now a weird change onto the primer. So starting on our front row, we have our MAC Prep and Prime Natural Radiance, and we have a little Glam Glow Glow Starter Moisturiser, which I love. I got one of these, but because I have so many products I wasn't going through this very quickly, so I ended up selling the bigger one as I hadn't even touched it yet, so there was no point wasting it. Then have the YSL Touche Eclat Blur Primer, the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer, which this is my new favourite. We've got the All Night Face Primer by Urban Decay. We have the YSL Top Secrets Instant Moisture Glow. I have the Too Faced Hangover Primer, the NARS Super Radiant Booster. I then have what used to be everyone's favourite, I think a lot of people do still love it, the Glam Glow Waterburst Glow Moisturiser. This is incredible. I then have the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Rich Base. We know I love that. I've got the ELF Poreless Putty Primer. I've only used it once. I think I do need to use it again, so I might use it in a video. Got the Clinique Moisture Surge 72 Hour Replenishing Hydrator. My lovely friend Charlie bought me that, so thank you, girl. Then on to the next row, we have the NYX High Glass Face Primer, which we've just seen in the previous video. I have the Touch and Salt No Problem Primer. We've got the Primark Skin Illuminator, a Primark Summer Blur Primer, which I'm going to do a video testing it against the YSL to see if it's similar. I've also got the NYX Honey Dew Me Up Primer, which I love, and I need to get a new one because I get very low on that. Then I have a eye gel that I'm just testing out. I have a NYX Away We Glow Strobing Cream, which is very similar to the MAC Strobe Cream in Cold Light. Then have a few little small ones of the strobe creams, little samples of when I worked with them. Then on the back row we've got Action Primer Ready, Illuminating Primer, which I want to test against strobe cream. Then got a few of the Primark ones. We've got the Hydrating, the Vitamin and the Matte Primer. I then have like number 7, a few body glows, few serums in the back, and also the priming water from Primark, which I used to love this stuff. I haven't used it for so long. I might start using it again in the summer. So then, as I said before, my next drawer is foundations. I'm gonna start with like all around the sides first. These are like all sort of foundations I don't really wear too much, but the sort of backups also, except for the two at the front. I have my Dior Air Flash foundation. Everyone will know this if you watch Tati or you watch Jeffree Star. I then also have the Urban Decay Stay Naked foundation. I then have a few sort of randomy sort of ones here, like Max Factor, Revolution, Maybelline, Barry M, things like that I need to test out. At the far back we have the Conceal and Define foundations by Revolution in loads of different shades, and also the Hydrate one. And then I have so many of the Primark My Perfect Colour foundations. These are my all-time favourite foundations of day to day when I'm going to work, and it's literally £2.50. So I have so many of these. I've probably gone through well over maybe like 20 bottles of these, because I literally love it so much. I've been using it for a few years now, since it first came out. And in my first row we've got the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk foundation. Got two of the Too Faced. We have the YSL All Hours foundation. We then have the Dior Forever Skin Glow foundation and the Zoeva Authentic Skin. I've only used this once, but I need to give it a few more goes because I'm not too sure how I feel about it yet. Then in the front section here we have all my like sort of go-to foundations that I do tend to use. So we've got all the Lancome ones here, which are the Tint Idol Ultra Wear 24 Hour foundations. This is actually the foundation that I use in my kit because I literally just love it so much. I'm definitely going to do a full video of like products I really do recommend to have in your kit, high-end and drugstore also, so I'm going to do one of them videos. I then have the Bobbi Brown Longwear Weightless foundation. We have the NARS Sheer Glow foundation. Everyone knows this foundation. I love it. I pretty much love all of the NARS foundations, so that's why I have the All Day Luminous Weightless foundation. And then I have two shades of the Natural Radiant Longwear foundations, which this one is getting very low, but I use this one to mix in with foundations when they're too light for my fake tan. I then also have this row here, like my MAC Studio Face and Body foundation. This is incredible if you have more mature skin or really young skin and you don't feel like you need too much coverage, you just want something to add a bit of colour. This is really good for that. Then have the MAC Studio Fix Fluid, have the Cover FX Power Play. This is really good if you like a matte foundation. I then have the Dior Backstage Face and Body foundation. This is a really good one as well. And then I also have the Primark My Perfect Colour Matte Foundation. This is the dupe of Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation. And then these are more like my low end sort of foundations that I love. Here we have two of the L'Oreal True Match foundations, two different shades. I love them. Then got four different shades of the Maybelline Superstay 24 Hour foundation. These are incredible also. I then have the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. I then have the NYX Born to Glow foundation. You know how I feel about that. Have two of the Primarks. We've got another Revolution and then a Bourjois Healthy Mix Serum foundation, which this is also gorgeous if you don't want too much coverage. So next we're going into my favourite drawer out of all of my drawers probably, as my eyeshadow palette drawer or go-to. So starting from the top, we obviously have the new Jeffree Star Bloodlust palette. This palette is gorgeous and I'm actually going to be using this in a video soon. I then have the Alien palette by Jeffree Star. This one he is actually discontinuing, which I'm very sad about. We then have his Jawbreaker palette, which I haven't actually used too much, which I need to start using a bit more because I actually really love this palette. I then have my two MAC palettes in here. They are in Flamboyant and Nude Model. These are both just kit palettes, but I have put them in here for now. We then have the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. This again is a really lovely palette. I love this palette. We then have the Thirsty palette by Jeffree Star. Again, a beautiful palette. He is also discontinuing this one. This middle row is just incredible. I feel like just the pigment on them was just so gorgeous, and I'm so gutted that he is discontinuing it, but I do need to get a few more uses out of this palette. My next palette is the original Carnival palette by BPerfect and Stacey Marie. I love this palette. As you can see, I've actually hit pan on one of these shades, which you will notice I don't hit pan on a lot of shades because I don't want it to end, because I just love them so much. But yeah, luckily this shade is in the new Carnival palette, which you'll see later, so I'm not too mad now. But yeah, I do love this palette. We then have the Beauty Bay and Mama Mitchell, Me, Myself and Mama Mitchell palette. Again, this is a gorgeous palette, and this is what the palette looks like. It is just gorgeous. Like, you can make some super wearable looks out of this, but also be so creative with this, and these are the type of palettes that my eyes are drawn to. The next palette is the BPerfect, and I don't know if she says JH makeup artist or JAR makeup artist, I'm not too sure, but the Clientele palette. This is the palette. It is gorgeous. If you have not tried this palette, you need it. If you were a makeup artist, this is such a go-to palette. You've got all your sort of cool sort of shades, you've got warmer sort of tones. You have the Sample Beauty, the Tectonic palette. This palette I need to start using a bit more. I've really neglected it. I think I've only really used it like 3 times, but I just think it's because I look at it and the sort of middle shades are just really like cool toned that it just sort of puts me off. But it is a gorgeous palette and the shades are incredible in it, and I do really think that their palettes are worth their money. I just need to start using it a bit more. So I then of course have the Morphe and Jeffree Star palette. This palette I love. I don't think the pigment is as good as his normal palettes, but I do think it is gorgeous to say the least. This glitter colour is just incredible. Like, that is just gorgeous. We then have the BH Cosmetics Ultimate Matte Shadow Palette. This palette I do love. I think the formula is incredible. The pigment in them is so good for the price also, and if you're just looking for an all-round matte palette that you can just have and sort of dip into, I think this is a really good palette to use. Then of course have the XL Pro palette of the Carnival, BPerfect and Stacey Marie palette. This again is a really good palette. I think this is one of the best palettes to buy when you are starting off, because the way she has set this up is just incredible. Like, she has just created columns of sort of tones and shades that go together, so that if you are stuck on how to create a look, you can just easily look down each sort of line. And then also if you want to get creative and use all of the colours together, you also can, because there's so many different looks you can create with this. And again, the highlighters are just so gorgeous. But I do really think this is a good palette if you were starting off. We then have, again, a popular palette, the Morphe and James Charles palette. I wish I had bought the mini one of this, because I see what everyone means by the big one is just so impractical. But I do really love this palette. Again, it is really an eye catcher, and the way he has also set this up again is he sort of set up sort of like shades that you can put all sort of together and they will look gorgeous, or you can just also dip into the whole sort of palette. So I do really love this one. And then I have the Morphe 39A palette. Again, another gorgeous palette. I do think I'm going to take this one into work because I just don't grab for it enough. And once again, the way that they set their shadows out, where you can sort of have like a combination of colours all together, so you sort of know where to go with your eye look. My last two in here are obviously Jeffree Star palettes. We have the Blue Blood palette, which looks like this. Gorgeous. I absolutely love this palette. I'm going to be doing a look with it soon, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. I just think it is a gorgeous palette. I know colourful palettes scare people off, but someone needed to come out with sort of themes, and I think Jeffree Star did really good with these palettes. And also packaging, again, nobody would do this except for Jeffree Star, and that's why it's so gorgeous. Everyone knows his Blood Sugar palette, which looks like this. Again, a gorgeous palette. I need to start reaching for this a bit more. I did really start getting into it, and then as you can tell, I have so many palettes that I always forget. Jeffree Stars are more like collectibles though, like they will always be ones that I'll treasure for the rest of my life. So we're going to go on to my second drawer of eyeshadow palettes. These are all my sort of palettes that I don't really reach for as much as my others. This doesn't mean that I don't love them as much as a lot of my others. It's just that I have so many and they don't all fit into one drawer. I do think these are a lot of my smaller sort of palettes also, so I do sort of reach for this drawer more when I'm travelling, so that's why I sort of keep all these together. So we obviously have my NYX Ultimate Shadow Palette that I've just used in a recent video. I have two of the Profusion Mixed Metals palette. I then have the first P. Louise palette, which again, a lovely palette. I did actually used to take this one into work with me, and then I got jealous, so I brought it home. I want to try out her newer palettes also, so I might have to pick them up. Then have the Chloe Ferry The Sunset palette. This one is very damaged on the front, and it is a very good sort of travel palette if you just want a few sort of shades to take with you. Have the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette. This was one of my first high-end sort of palettes. As you can tell, this colour is completely gone, and I don't really reach for it much anymore as there's only 2 mattes left in it. I then have my only Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palette, the Subculture, which is gorgeous. I know there was a lot of backlash on this, but I actually do really love this palette, and I think you can get some super wearable looks out of this. I then have the Vault by Jaclyn Hill and Morphe. I do reach for this one quite a lot. I reach for the yellow and the red sort of palette more than the green and the purple, so that's in here for travel. I then have the Jaclyn Hill palette in here. This is actually one that I take to work, but obviously I've brought it home during this situation. So I love this palette. I'm actually going to purchase another one of this palette just for myself because I love it so much, and as you can tell I've hit pan on 2 of the colours, which we know I said before, it doesn't happen a lot, but I love this palette so much. I then have the It's My Ray Ray BH Cosmetics palette, which is a highlighter and contour and then a eyeshadow palette. This is really good to take with you when you're travelling. I then have my first ever high-end eyeshadow palette, the Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette. I will never get rid of this palette purely over memories of it being my first expensive palette. I'll always keep it just more for memories, never actually use it on my eyes anymore as they're quite dry in formulation, as obviously they're well past their date. I then have the Revolution and Soph palette, the first one. Again, a gorgeous palette, a massive mirror. Definitely recommend this one if you're on a budget. I then have the BH Cosmetics Take Me to Brazil palette. This palette I literally cannot wait to use. I haven't actually used it yet, but I want to create a lot of creative looks and colourful looks soon, so this is going to be one of my ones that I use for that. I have another BH Cosmetics palette. This is the Weekend Festival palette. The formulation that BH Cosmetics brings out for the price is just next to none. They're just gorgeous shades and gorgeous pigment, so I do recommend them. I then have the Desert Oasis palette by BH Cosmetics. Again, a gorgeous that you can take with you when you go traveling, because you have like 4 sort of matte shades and then all your shimmers to create different looks and your highlighters, and the pigment again in this is just gorgeous. I love this palette so much. Then have 2 of the Naked 2 Urban Decay Basics palettes. They are just ones that I got from when I went to New York. I then have the BH Cosmetics and Carly Bible palette. This was a palette that she brought out years ago. I feel it probably wasn't that long ago, but it does feel like probably like 3-4 years ago. And as you can tell, I hit pan on the highlighter. It's so bad, but I did used to love this palette when I was starting out. We then have the Juvia's Place The Magic palette. This used to be one of my favourites. I need to start using it again. It is an absolutely gorgeous palette. The shimmers in this are incredible. Then have the Sleek Makeup Gleamin' in Gold palette. This is just purely a shimmer palette. I then have the Bare Minerals Meteor Shower palette. This palette is absolutely incredible. The pigment in it is just so buttery smooth, but I just have to always use it with other shades out of different palettes because I just can never really create a look out of this palette. Maybe I'll do a challenge one day and see what I can create out of this, but yeah, I do love this palette. And then the Bobbi Brown Sandy Nude Eye palette. My mum actually bought me this when she went on holiday quite a few years ago, so again it is slightly out of date, but again I just keep it for memory. And have 3 of the Lacura palettes, which basically like dupes of the Urban Decay Naked palettes, which I'm actually going to eventually use these against Urban Decay palettes when I finally get around to buying them, so just to test them to see what they're like. And finally we have the Revolution Pro Amplified Brow palette. I keep this just so I can take to work in my kit, so have all different shades for eyebrows. So my last drawer is my lips drawer. This one is quite a mess. I need to get another stand to put lipsticks in. That's why a lot of them are just sort of shoved down here. But we have a lot of like Essence, Huda Beauty, we've got Primark, we have MUA, L'Oreal, Rimmel London, things like that, just sort of all shoved down here right now till like they've got a home. Front section, I have my Peaches and Cream lip glosses here. I then have NYX lip butter glosses here. I then have a few MAC lip glosses. I then have the Jeffree Star lip gloss, which is in Legends Only, my favourite lip gloss ever. I need to get another one of them. I then have the MUA Glow lip gloss that you've recently seen in a video. Morphe Jeffree Star liquid lipsticks. I've got Doll Beauty, Sosu, Morphe, all my MAC ones all down this side. Charlotte Tilbury, NYX. I've got my 2 H&B Cosmetics, my new ones, my lip gloss and the liquid lipstick. So excited to use them. We've got Primark, Fenty Beauty, which doesn't fit in the holder, which irritates me. I then have Doll Beauty glosses. What else do we have? More Primark, L'Oreal, MUA, Primark. We have Freedom lipsticks all here, which I don't think they do anymore, but I do still have them here. We then have Victoria's Secret Sleek. We've got a few lip palettes at the back here. L'Oreal chocolate ones, which are incredible. New Look, which I loved this one and they stopped doing. More Primark, MUA, and a Dior lipstick, which is one of my mum's old favourite ones, which I will always keep again for sentimental reasons. But that is pretty much this drawer. if you want me to do a more in-depth lip draw, I can. There's just so much going on right now, it's hard to sort of show you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It has taken me so long to get this out, purely because I've literally filmed this video about 4 times now. As you can tell, I'm not wearing an orange jumper like you will see in the video, and I'm wearing extravagant makeup from a different video that's going to be coming out. I just kept editing, didn't like the video, didn't like the setup of how I was trying to show you things with the camera. I'd show you by holding the camera, it'd be too wobbly and things like that, and so it took me a while to get a video that I was sort of satisfied with, and then I had to edit down like 2.5 hours of footage into like I think 40 minutes I've got it down to in the end. But hope you do enjoy it, and I will see you in my next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below any sort of videos you would like, and if you would like more like in-depth videos on some of the draws that I couldn't really show you too much of at the moment, and when I do it all up again I'll do an updated one. But thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!